guys do a little exercise to help me and do what you want with it. It's gonna help. So what I wanna go over, a couple things like actual nuts and bolts stuff. So I think for me, building a schedule is super important as part of this business. But I think what I learned from me is when I put my goals on paper, and we'll start the exercise now if you have some that just literally off the top of your head stuff. We don't have to get too deep, too crazy, too long. Please finish it later. Just do like the top 2 or 3 things that come to mind. And the way I set up goals for me is pretty different, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, I like goals, whatever they are. I want to make $1 zillion. I want to donate to church. I want to buy a giant house. I want to fucking live on the land in the middle of nowhere. Whatever your stuff is, it is, right? I think what people missed that I very mistakenly did well is kind of the next steps. So it's like, all right, the next steps would be like, again, as an example, I want to make, how would you say, 250, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. What do I need to add? I need to run 28 appointments a week. Whatever the answers are, the things you need to add to hit the goals you want, right? What I believe is the most important is the third column, the things you need to get rid of, because if you don't get rid of shit, you can't add stuff. Does that make sense? And for me, I did that by mistake at the beginning. I don't know why. I don't know if I read it, heard it. I look back and I'm like, everyone always did goals. Most people just do goals. Here's my goals. Some people put action behind the goals, very few. I don't know anyone that also goes like, I gotta get rid of this stuff and writes it down. So basic stuff, literally just write down your top few things you need that you've learned today or know you need to do in your case that you need to add, and then y'all know the shit you gotta get rid of. I've never met a person who don't know. So this is the sacrifice piece now, right? So things you got to be willing to do them though. This is for you. I don't care. I'm not gonna make people share. This is just y'all do you, and then I'll explain kind of the rest of how I did it. So take like 2 or 3 minutes to do that, and let me know when y'all done. I think everyone's done, yeah?
Cartoons were better back then.
All right. So for me, mine are written up here. So at some point it got to be, I want to make 250 grand. I was kind of going into 15. Pay off debt. I had like, obviously a house, I had cars, I had student loans, I had probably like 25 G's in student loan debt. Probably like, I don't know, 50 G's in credit card debt. And sadly, that was after filing bankruptcy and losing 2 houses and getting a car taken away. I racked up more debt because I didn't learn the first time. So I got more. And then, so I wanted to pay off all that. You can just drop it here. So I wanted to pay off debt. I wanted to get Steph a house because the entire time I lived in her house. I went from a little bit before I got an insurance, I lived in one of those like efficiency lodges by the interstate behind the gas station. Lived there for a while. I got an apartment. I got like an actual apartment, like, you walk like 15 of them in a building, whatever type of apartment. I made it maybe 60 days before I couldn't pay rent, got kicked out of there. Go in one day, eviction notice, and my kid, the little ones were like babies, like a few months old. Gabby was like a year. And I had like I don't know, TJ and Shaylee were probably like 7 and 12 or something like that. Maddox wasn't born yet. I just met Steph. And so I got kicked out of there and she let me move in with her. So and I knew her like we connected quick, like early. We started talking marriage like within like, I think 30 minutes. It was really crazy. But, so within a few months I got kicked out of that apartment and I moved in with her. And so I lived in Steph's house from 2000, what was that? 2000, we met in 07. Probably beginning of 08, end of 07, beginning of 08, till 2016. I lived in the house she bought when she was like 21. It's about like $130,000 house, 1,200 square foot, split level, 3-bedroom, half finished basement, whatever. Little place, but it was hers, So I lived there for a while, and when I first met Steph, she made more money than I did. So she was making like 60 G's a year. I'm making, 30, 40. I got 4 kids. She's got none. Her family was like, yeah, what are you doing? And she's from the country. Like, she's a country girl. So like her cowboy boots, brothers wearing cowboy boots and chewing that shit in their lip, and they shoot animals and then eat it right after. They cook it in their backyard, type like country family. And the first time I meet them, they bring me to the backyard, and they live on a bunch of land. And we're sitting down around this like fire pit thing, and they're cooking frog legs that they caught out of their pond, and they're eating them. And I'm like, where am I? And they're talking in country, and I'm brand new to the South, and we ain't from the country. I'm like, yo, what are they saying? And so Steph had to translate because the dad and the brother were talking, and you know, now I understand country, and it's 7 words into one mumble means something, and it's a new word that they don't say up north, like yonder is an example that they don't teach that word up north. And so I'm like, why do they, and Steph would be like, well, this means that. I'm like, well, why don't they just say that? Like, it means over there, so why don't they just say over there? Why do they gotta use a made up word? And I was struggling with it, right, to understand it. But so I'm living with her, I'm in that environment, she's making more money, I got 4 kids, we got child support, I got child support, and I say I had it, but she was helping pay it because I couldn't. You know, and I don't know if any of you ever dealt with it, if you don't pay it, you go to jail, so it's not good. So I'm like, all that culminated into that whole, let me do the 40-hour thing, get out of it. And for me, this was really important because I wanted to get out of her house and buy us a house. All right, so that was a big goal for mine. And then one of the things that I really wanted, because I have 4 kids with my first marriage, which was really young. First came at 16, then I had one, she was born at 17, then I had one at 20, and then I had 2 more at like, maybe like 26, 27, something, I can't remember. I was like 28, 29, whatever year I was, maybe 30 with 4. And then I had Maddox with Steph in 2011. We got married in 2010, had Maddox in 2011. And so the 2 kids, one went to Ohio State, one kind of did his own thing, ended up going to KSU, had 2 little ones in North Paulding, and then I had Maddox. So they were all in separate places. And one of the things I wanted, I knew I couldn't make it here because these kids only grew up with broke dad. These 2 have seen both sides, and this one, all he knows is money. But I wanted these to go to school together. That was one of the goals of mine. And I wanted them in private school. So I'm like, those were the goals, right? This one, Maddox, Braden, Gabby graduates next week from private school. And she's going to work at Georgia College. So these were the goals, right? And then for me, I knew I had to do the 40-hour thing. One of the decisions I made is I was going to be the first one in the office dialing every day. Mike Killimet was my mentor. When I got there, he was always there, and he'd always bitch that no one was there on time, and people come late, and it frustrated him. I'm like, all right, first one to the office. That'll probably help. And it'll stand out and get me recognition from people, you know what I mean? So I literally, my goal was to race to the office to be the first one there every day. Appointment goal, again, these are things I had to add to my world. 30 appointments, 120 a month, 1,500 a year is what I had to add to get these things. And I wanted my lead flow as automatic as possible. Those are the things I knew I needed at the time. In order to do this shit, what did I have to get rid of? I was a junkie here. Big Brother, Survivor, the one, what's the Travel the World one? Amazing Race, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the old one with like Tamara and all them. I knew all of them back in the day. I still somehow remember her name because I thought she was hot. And I'm like, I watched all that shit with Steph every night, nonstop. I'd watch football from Thursday to fucking Monday every single week, and I'd watch it on SportsCenter on repeat, even though I just watched the game. I played flag football every Sunday for 15 years, from the time I was 20 to the time I stopped at 35, and I would sleep in like a mother. I mean, if I got up, Steph used to have to go to work at 10, so her schedule was 10 to 6, I think. It's been a while. I think it was 10 to 6. And so she'd get me up at like 9:30, 9:45 before she left for work. She worked right up the street. So my typical day, I'd get up at 9:30 and then watch SportsCenter. And then eat Cheerios while she was at work. And then maybe I'd dial a little bit, maybe I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I was just that procrastination crap. And so the reason this helped me is because, again, the whole thing where I had that desire to do more, and I started to have a little bit of belief in myself, but I had to make that decision, and this is the things I want to do. And now this just became like, how do I execute this game plan every day? For me, the reason this worked really well, adding this, is because if I sleep in, it means I can't do that. If I catch myself thinking about flag football, I can't get Stepper House. You know what I mean? If I'm not the first one to the office, I'm like, shit, I can't do that. If I don't hit my appointments, I can't hit that. You know what I mean? So to me, these goals tied to the things I had to get rid of. And when I started doing these, I knew I was avoiding these, and I knew I would never have that. So this became like a trigger, in a sense, And I remember one day, I was sitting around like a bum watching football on Saturday, because the NFL, they do Saturday at the end of the year, right? So I'm watching football on Saturday, and I watch all the guys who are making money. They're out selling policies on a Saturday. And we used to post our numbers in a group, a little chat, so you could see who was active, who wasn't. Some people use Slack or Facebook groups or things like that today, but we used Twitter back in the day. So we had this little following, and everyone would post how many appointments they ran, how much money they made, whatever. I remember I'm watching them all, and one day I did all the nerdy math like I did a little while ago, based on my numbers. And I figured out how much I made per hour when I was sitting with clients. And then I figured out how long a football game is. And I learned that watching a football game cost me $3,000.
No.
I was like, yeah, huh?
Better be a good game.
Hey, not on TV, bro. I'm dropping $3,000, bro. I'm sitting front row and gonna hit Tom Brady in the head with a football. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So if I sat and watched football, I'm like, now I can't help but sit down and watch TV and think, is this worth 3 G's to me? Is this worth giving a private school for my kid? You know what I mean? Like, I had to make those triggers, because we're all human. And I can get y'all fucking excited out of your mind today, but when you leave here, you're on your own. You know what I mean? You're gonna be sitting in your own environment. It's gonna wear off unless you put things in place to keep yourself on point. You know what I mean? And for me, this was an accountability. I didn't really know it at the time. I wasn't like that smart and that intentional when I did it. I was ready to change. You know what I mean? And I started doing things, and I was reading books about goals, and it just kind of all sort of happened separately. I didn't sit down and do this exercise. I just kind of slowly over time built it. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I need to do this. Oh, shit. And you know what I mean? It kind of developed. And I'm like, damn, there's something here. And I still have like, these are handwritten goals from 14. It's 2015. I heard Mark Mead say on a training call in 2015. It was 2014, because I usually write these a few months before. He did a training call, and he shared that he made $41,000 in a month. So that became my first goal for 2015.
41K.
41K in a month. And I put not happy, and I crossed it out because I didn't like saying that. I put not satisfied. I was making $8,000 to $10,000 a month. And I put not happy / cross it out, not satisfied with $8,000 to $10,000 at all, and I underlined at all. And then I wrote grow team, $1 million team a year. And if you remember on the board, we did 1.1 million that year. And I didn't think I could get there.
Intention.
And I put deposit 20 to 25 grand a month and double every year, 1 million by 2017. I actually did more than 20, 25 grand a month. And my goal was 250 or 300K IP. I did 460 and made whatever, I made 370 or something that year. And I put make $1 million by 2017, which happened. Be the #1 writer on the team I was on. And then I listed people there by name here on people I wanted to pass. I said, pass more people. And I put their names.
You pass them all?
Fuck yeah, I did. I hit every goal on here. I hit every goal on all of these. There's not one I haven't hit. I used to go, like, these aren't these are the copies that I say, but I'd check them off as I hit them. There's not one on here I haven't hit. About 2013, buy Steph a house. Earn net 70K. Win a free carrier trip was a goal. Read 12 books was a goal, because I wasn't reading at the time. donate $2,000 to church. I wanted 5 writers by the end of the year. We have 6,000 now. Yeah. Read 2 books a
Show
month.
people the power of second
Yeah.
intentions.
Now I went to read $2 a month from this year, the next year. I ain't there yet. Save 30 grand for a new house, donate 5K to church instead of 2K from the previous year, which is cool. I put get 1 new mentor, that was a goal. Get a CPA, because I needed my business shit set up. Let's see, 16. 16 was the dad's buying a new house. Make over 500 grand for the first time. I'm going out of order a little bit. Team, 3 million a year. Help 20 agents get to 20 grand a month in more personal development. 2018, 15 million in agency a year. Help develop and mentor 4 direct VPs to me. Find a secondary cash flow, which who knew would be real estate. I've made a fuck ton of money in real estate by mistake, and I don't know what I'm doing. But I bought these buildings too in one day, and I didn't know what I was doing. But the guy, we were looking for a new office. 2019, maybe, we moved here?
We moved here, yeah.
So this is 2018, we're trying to find a new office. Killamette had an office that we rented, and we subleased from him, and it was a shithole. Like, had rats, and the plumbing didn't work, and it was nasty. Like, we should go on a tour one day. It was nasty. Fair? Like, I don't even think nasty's doing it justice.
No, it was gross.
Yeah.
Like, it was awful.
And you still somehow came and worked for me, and we'd have it packed out with people dialing.
Yeah.
Because my belief was, like, who gives a shit? It was like boiler room shit. Like, we were cranking out. It was nuts. So anyway, we're trying to move. Killamette was buying a house at the time, so he couldn't, like, buy something because he was trying to finance his house and the whole, however it worked. So I'm like, I'll figure it out, dude. So I go start looking at offices to lease. We start trying to find places. And my agent at the time says, "Are you open to buy something?" And I'm like, you realize I just only bought 1 house in my life, and it was just a couple years ago. I don't know anything about buying an office. She's like, just come look. They'll lease it, they'll rent, whatever. So we come look at that one. And we're sitting outside with Billy. Were you with me when this happened? It might have just been me and Steph. I can't remember. And I come outside and I look at it and go look, and we're like, how much does it cost? And we're going through numbers, and he's like, well, what, would you be open to buy it? And I'm like, how the fuck does that work? And he goes, well, I own or finance it. I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? He goes, if you give me 50 G's, I'll finance the rest. And I was like, huh. And again, this is 2019, so I got some money now. And so we start looking at it, and we were gonna lease the upstairs only, and downstairs has a tenant in it. So this, what you're in now, is a tenant, and upstairs where my office is in that building was empty, and it wasn't quite enough space. So I'm like, shit, it's 10 offices, we can't really have trainings, da da da. And I'm doing the math on like the financing. It was gonna be like 5 G's a month, a mortgage, and I'm trying to figure out like rent and where we can fit everybody, and it just wasn't kind of working. They paid like 3 grand, I think, like 3 G's a month or something like that. I'm like, it wasn't working. And this, what you're in now, this was it's just a slab. There was nothing here. And I go, if you own or finance 1, will you own or finance 2? And I'll like do more. I figured it out late. He was like, you got 100 grand? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah. Because then if I rented both of those, the rent from that, because then I could rent 10 offices there. So I was like, I can rent it to agents. There's 10 offices, $500 an office, 5 G's, 3 G's down there. The mortgage was like $4,500 each. So I'm like, if I buy both, the rent from that pays for both. Fuck it, let's do it. I gave the guy 100 grand that day, and we built this one custom. That one you can't get upstairs to downstairs. So we built this one custom, and I had the stairs put in the way we did it. And I literally just bought 2 commercial buildings off the rip. Now we're selling that one, and I'm probably gonna make like, how much are we selling it for? I bought it for 700.
1.1.
Not bad for a dude who didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Then I bought a piece of property in Blue Ridge for 8 something, and sold it a year later for 1.9. Just, I was like, fuck it, let's buy a house. It wasn't on purpose. I just bought it. COVID happened. Timing was worth a bunch. I'm like, fuck it, let's sell it. Who needs to come to a cabin anymore? $1 million, I'm out. We sold it. You know what I mean? Now we're building our house with some of the money, certainly real insurance, but from real estate stuff too. And for me, I didn't know that when I create second, you know what I mean? I've made like, probably like And my old house I sold, made good money. And the one I'm in now, probably like fucking $3 million in real estate.
You've got Birmingham and Colorado, they have too.
And Tennessee, yeah, I bought 5 commercial buildings after that. Because then the model became, oh shit, that worked. Why don't I buy commercial buildings, put insurance agents in them who can't afford rent at a big space because it's expensive. Let me rent it $500 an office. And that became a model. We bought 5 buildings that way. Cash flowed like crazy, sold.
The FFL office in Tennessee, Nashville?
Yeah, the first one.
We were in Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, not Nashville, sorry. Yeah, not Nashville. So I was the first one at FFL to buy a building.
So you just see where you have a bunch of agents that aren't
Yeah.
close to you and you just throw it off.
Yeah, and then I teach people to do it. So I'm like, here, if you want to do, here's how you build a team, get an office, do this, blah, blah, culture, yada, yada, yada. And if you can't, and they're like, an office is expensive. I'm like, well, I'll buy it if you want to rent it. So I'd go in and buy it. They'd run the office. I'm like, you want to buy it from me to one day buy it from me? Great. Then we got 5 of them.
But I'm gonna charge you $200,000 more than what's left.
Huh? Nah, I mean, I was only going to mark it up 10% if I sold it back to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't need to make a bunch. I was going to cash flow and make 10% profit, move on. So we built that in. Just none of them bought it, and I sold it, and I made 50% or whatever the number is. It's a big number. You know what I mean? But I just don't think I would have got that if I didn't put shit down. You know, help 2 people get to $1 million plus income. We definitely passed that. Mentor 20 agents to over 250 grand. No debt. Pay off my house before 2020, which we did. Pay the cars off. Help more people discover their gifts. You know, so kind of the combination of writing these things down, and I look at them. I had this bitch taped to my office wall and in my bathroom. So I saw it every day. You know, put it in the dial room, so when I was dialing, I saw my goals. So when I wanted to, right on the wall. And I had that sign in front of my desk at the old office. My goals and that sign. Every single day I looked at it. Yeah. I'm just like, how do I feed myself the right stuff all the time? You know what I mean? Because the environments, man, mess you up. So, again, it all ties together for me. If any of y'all, you definitely don't have to share if you want to because it's your thing and you think you need to, you can, because I said I'm not going to make you. But then I thought, shit, maybe someone wants to. If you do, you can. You're more than welcome to. Or we can just move on. Next part of this thing, if you go to, so kind of one part of it I have to skip a little bit because, to be honest, y'all don't have like the best numbers on earth, like correct. So I'm gonna go over that again. I think we get the concept of this one, right? And for me, it was like, let me figure out ultimately how many appointments, how much activity I need to do. That's the goal of this sheet. Y'all just do that offline. We can't do it here because literally, if you suck at math, there's a key there. It's not that deep. If you can't figure it out, throw it away and pretend you never saw it. Kind of the last step to this thing, which I'll give you like 5 minutes to figure out. Just, you got the 3 calendar months. Just take one, literally take May. And what I did, I'll show you the way I did it. And that we've done this for an obnoxious number of agents over the years. So, let's see if I can make a quick calendar. I go, be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is that right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, something like that. What I would fill in first, if you're me, is the shit you either can't or don't want to move. So for me, my ideal schedule, your ideal schedule. Mine was church on Sundays was ideal and I didn't work. Church is an hour, so I certainly believe in working on Sundays. When I was part-time, I dialed every Sunday for a year. You could sell a shitload of insurance on Sundays, but I preferred to go to church and be off. That's just what I wanted in the ideal world. I used to get my kids every Thursday night for dinner. Before that, didn't live with me. And then every other weekend, I had the kids Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oops. This board doesn't erase very well without this thing. So I had the kids every other weekend. That was all I gave a shit about. I preferred to not move those things. Okay? Now, there's some spots at the top of the calendar on the right. What in my head those were, again, I knew I had to run 120 appointments a month. That was my focus. You want it to be dials, you want it to be something out, make it something else. I don't give a shit. Mine was 120 appointments a month. And I'm like, here's what's open. So now it became fill in the blank. Does that make sense? But here's when I don't want to work. Now, for me, if I didn't hit my goals, I was going to work these days. So the result and the consequence of not doing that meant I had to miss these days. I'm a very big like consequence guy to myself. So now I was like, all right, well, what do I do here? Again, I come from a in-home world. I'd probably do it very similar, even if we're telesales. I'd come up with something very similar. I'm just gonna share my schedule, make the concept apply to you, do it how you want. I dialed every Monday. That was my schedule. I was gonna be the first one in the office, and I was gonna dial, and I was gonna book appointments here. Every week, Tuesday, Wednesday. And for me, I'll finish the schedule before I explain it. Which meant this week, the only days I could run appointments, like in this week, in my ideal world, I only got 2 days. Because I get my kids Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm off in church. I would pick them up Thursday for dinner, I'd get them after school Friday, and I'd bring them home Sunday night.
So you wouldn't want to put this as early in the day?
No, not my ideal schedule. Does that make sense? I built my ideal schedule. In the perfect world, this is what I wanted. So appointments here, cool. Then I went, all right, every other Friday, I can run appointments because I don't have my kids. Then here and here, I was with only Stephanie and Maddox. So I had all the kids these weekends. Maddox lives with me. So I went, I'm gonna work one, and I'm gonna be off this one. That was my ideal world.
How does that add up to 40?
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got A here. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, right? 9, 10, 11 days in the field. How many appointments do I have to run? 11 days, they hit 120. 11 a day. That's it. I run 11 appointments here, 11 appointments here, 11 appointments here. I just run 11 appointments every day. That's it. That was my life for 2.5 years. I wrote 1.2 million doing that. I'm on that. That's the magic to my world. I worked 11 days a month selling insurance. But I didn't dink and dab. All day on the phones, as long as it took. And I got really fucking good. You know, my goal became here? Be done by lunch so I could go to lunch with Mike Killiman. Because he was really good, he was a great mentor, and he went to lunch and he did not miss. And he liked to eat early. By 11:15, he was busting our ass. Like, yo, you coming to lunch? And almost everyone said yes. But if I didn't have the 22 appointments booked, and maybe I tweaked it. Maybe I did. Now, if I do 9 here, I'm like, shit, I got to make it up. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather be over than under. So you know what I'm saying? Now, if life comes up, I have vacation. What do I got to do? We're off this week. I got to do 15 here. I got to front load it. I got to skip some days. Maybe I work this Saturday instead. Maybe I go Sunday. Like, if I got to adjust, I adjust. Christmas. I ain't missing my 120. New month, new calendar. Let me map it out. You know what I'm saying? November, December's mapped out slightly different. This is a normal everyday month. This is most months of the year. But if I want to do some other stuff, all right, how do I make it work? Just adjust, move shit around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the rocks. I ain't moving. I don't want to move the cave with the kids. I don't want to move it. And I like the idea of off Sundays. I don't know what that's like. I didn't really have that my whole life. Or if I did, I was off and I was broke and it sucked because I spent all day thinking about all the shit and money I owed. You know what I mean? It wasn't the most fun. But do more or work 11 days a month. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the guy who was doing 4, 5, 6 days a week. Now, this is just selling insurance. You know, build an agency, buckle the fuck up. I was taking calls when I had my kids. You know what I mean? Just is what it is. I didn't know how to do that. When I was little, my kids saw me on the phone a lot.
Did you have like a recruiter that was?
Never. I was the recruiter. I never had a recruiter in my entire life.
So,
I am the recruiter. Why? Because I can't teach people to recruit if I don't recruit. And I want duplicatable. So if I hire a recruiter and I want to teach him to recruit, and I go hire a recruiter and he says he can't, what do? I can't teach him to do it because I don't do it. And truly, who's going to teach the fucking recruiter? The way I hired her is all the stuff I was doing. Someone had this coach once and he had me do this exercise where I put down all the shit in a week and pay attention to it, write it all down what I was doing, and then at the end of the week kind of look at it and go, which of those things are not making me any money? Right? And I think I hired her, to be honest, at like 35 grand or something, maybe. When she started, this was again 2017, so a little different. What do they call it? Inflation thing wasn't quite here yet. So I put all the stuff down, like that's actually kind of what she was doing. You were checking people's pending, I think is the first thing. When pending used to be a thing. If any of y'all don't know what that is, there wasn't instant approval shit. So
Still is the thing.
yeah.
Especially with NLG.
Yeah, used to be every policy you wrote. When I used to leave a client's house, I'd be like, I'll let you know in 2 to 3 weeks. That was standard, leaving every house. So she would check the pending for my agents. She never did mine. I submitted all my own app. I dialed all my own leads. I made all my own recruiting calls, and I submitted all my own applications. I never let her touch my client stuff. That was my
That's a
money.
big mistake that I did.
Yeah. Now, some people disagree with it, but I'm like, I'm OCD, I have trust issues. She was newer, I didn't know her really well. Now today, the building, we're closing on that. She did 100%. I don't know one thing about it. I don't know any of the paperwork. I don't know when it's closing. I don't know what paperwork's been signed. I don't have a fucking clue. I'm just like, I want to sell the building. I called a real estate agent. I'm like, hey, can you sell the building? Send Amanda whatever. And she deals with everything. Attorneys, real estate agents, she does it all. Yeah, now we close. I always write her a fucking check. And I'm like, here. And she goes, Disney or, I don't know, buy Louis something. I try to help her out. You know what I mean? Like, she has helped me make a bunch, so I'm like, now my goal is like, how can I get her to make even more? You know? And now new staff is learning that. I'm like, cool, make us a bunch of money. I'll help, you'll get paid. You know what I mean? Because we interviewed every one of them. I'm like, we already make what we make without you. You know what hiring you does? It makes me less profitable at the beginning. So I got to go backwards before I can go forward. You know what I'm saying? But what we did is we started looking at everything. Again, I was checking agents pending. I was running ads online to do recruiting calls. I was taking calls and forwarding contracting to carriers.
Paper contract.
Yeah, back in the day, paper stuff. I don't even remember some of the stuff I gave you at the beginning. I remember I was distributing leads to agents. Yeah, I was sending all my own emails to the agents. Like, hey, training call this week. And I was making the template and putting it in fucking constant contact. I was doing all that shit. And then I'm like, again, hired her right out of high school, 35 grand a year, $700 a week. I'm like, yo, that's like a baby app. And if I have her doing all this stuff, couldn't I do one more of these? I'm like, oh, that was really dumb waiting. And like, that's a mistake I made. I waited too long because I thought it was expensive to hire someone. I'm like, I look back and I see how expensive it was to not hire her. You know, I hired her, we blew up.
I did
Because,
the opposite.
yeah.
I just hired Filipino divers instead of.
Yeah. You know, I like people around me. You know, I go a million miles an hour. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of questions. I'm like, hey, come here. And we fucking talk about, I like now. You know, I dislike people away from me. That's just not my thing. I don't know. So, kind of the game plan of how to execute it. And,
I like that way better than what I'm doing right now.
good.
Dialing 9 hours a day, not getting shit, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll dial 9 hours a day, but I'm going to eat from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, here, my goal
You're
became,
sitting on appointments.
can I be done dialing by 11?
Yeah.
That was my goal. How did I do that? I started dialing at 7.
9 hours a week,
So-
6 days or 9 hours a day, 6 days a week, and it
Yeah.
sucks.
So
I'm sick of it.
if I get on the phone at 7, and more importantly, someone said about the phone scrolling thing. I don't know who, was that you that did that? So I'm a big fan, like this thing tells the truth.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's,
So what I love about this
Conference.
is it
Yep.
used to go to, I fucking dislike Apple. I just recently found out this used to stop at 100. So I used to could see this is your last 100 phone calls, and I go look at it, see how old it is, and if you're in the business, that should, like, the bottom one should say today. Their latest update, now you can scroll like this, and now stores 1,000. I found out. So if you go back and see, like, just for fun, how old your oldest one is at 1,000, like, it tells a lot. So I would look at it every night, dial day, and I would look at when I was recruiting. Because if I was building a team, that 100, when I went to bed at 11 or 12, that shit would say like lunchtime, 100 phone. I'd make up, like, I'd fill more than 100 in one day when I wasn't in the field dialing. You know, so I was talking to that many people, either recruiting or training them. You know, it's for me, that was the truth teller. So the way I like to look at it now, and you can all do this, if you dial on your phones, if you don't, I'm convinced you can be more effective doing it. If I sold insurance today, I'd be on this sucker. You know, I'd have some combination of some cool CRM stuff because I'm a nerd.
Try to switch it out just because I've heard of like, I don't know, like sometimes like you call too much, your call getting hit as flag, you know, like for spam and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, if you have the
Happen.
choice between dialing on phone burner and using your cell phone, like use your cell phone every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I
There's
don't.
one called Wave, and apparently, like, you can dial 3 numbers at once, and it flags it, so it doesn't get marked as spam. I've talked to some people that are smarter than me, that's like, that is literally impossible.
Yeah, I'm simple. I like simple, dude.
What about your calls? They're not recorded though, if you use this. Well, you just give that up.
No, you can record calls.
Get one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, get your laptop, get an iPad. Dude, I went to Radio Shack and plugged the thing in there, and you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't have to be that deep.
Yeah, just call it,
So-
pay $14.99 a month for the Zoom thing, so you can go over an hour and
Yeah.
just, you know, record
There are all kinds of ways to do it. But my point is, find some accountability method to yourself. What I would say I like most about the phone is that you make a shit ton of calls. Do you mind?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
So
scrolled all the way down.
I don't make near as many calls anymore. So like,
I mean,
oh, you didn't update yet.
I know.
Oh,
did.
no, wait.
So that's
It keeps
probably
refreshing.
it's probably when it updated.
Yeah.
Is when it started recording more calls.
So use something else to use other things to dial.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there it goes. It's updated.
Yeah.
'Cause it's back to January.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. So January 17th is your oldest one. For mine says October.
Right.
So I don't make near as many phone. 90% of my calls now are spam. I got this thing set up in a way where I don't have to do near as many calls unless it's recording. So, but what I like, especially if you're looking at it day to day, it doesn't show yesterday, so you didn't dial a ton today. You didn't dial at all today, obviously.
No.
So like,
It says here.
but this is how a lot of agents would look. If you look at the most recent one, it tells you the timestamp. So my favorite thing to look at on an agent's dial day and my own is to look at your timestamp to see how your dial day went. And like in this case, she had a call at 8:50 and her next one was at 11:32. I have agents all day long that are like, I dialed all day and I didn't book shit. And I'd be like, you had a call at 8:50 and a second one at 11:32. Great, it's not a dial day. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Today's not a
But
dial
this
day.
is real.
Yeah.
So I would look at it, and for me, one of the ways I judge myself and I hold myself accountable is I look at the gaps between calls. I found that's the most expensive part, because again, it takes a minute. So meaning 11, you start at 7:30, dude, your next call should be before 7:31 unless someone answered. So your call should be like 7:30, show 3 times because you triple dialed it, 7:30, maybe it's 7:32 if you triple dial on 7:32, should be back to back. What most I'll look at, it'll be like, first of all, they won't start till 9:47. Then it'll be like 9:52, 10:12, 10:17, 10:45, and it's not like back to back to back to back. And where I found riches was in the efficiency of dialing and connecting them all together. Where most people are like, I dialed 3 hours, and there's more gaps. There's more time in gaps than there is time on the phone. Again, think timer. My brain works that way. So I'm like, if I'm gonna spend 3 hours dialing, why wouldn't I get as many as I can in that window? Right? So for me, physically, manually dialing the phone, that's 60 an hour. I was racing to 60 an hour. So every hour I'd look at my ticks and I'd be like, did I hit 60? Ooh, I'm at 52. Or I'm 71. Sure as shit better not be at 30. I had 30 calls an hour, I'm fucking pissed at myself. You know what I'm saying? That whole like, judge your activity thing. I'm pissed that I didn't hit 60 an hour.
What if you catch a call though?
I mean, a call should be 2 minutes max.
You're setting your appointments.
I was booking appointments.
Okay.
Now again, you're present concept. So he's doing one call closing, he can look at it and go, I made 6 calls, but I had 3 presentations. Amen. Fucking high five. Take the concept. Does that make sense? Create your own accountability. Mine was dialing like this. You know what I'm saying? I did it today. I would just have the math. I'd be like, cool, I made 15 dials. I got 3 people on the phone. I made 2 presentations. All right, math works out. You know what I'm saying? It's just creating systems that check yourself and more concerned about the gaps. So again, you got a presentation, you end the presentation, how long does it take you to get back on the phone?
Yeah, you go sail and you're like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm chill for a while, I'm gonna get my food. Yeah.
Correct.
Instead of getting right back into it.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I wouldn't want the gap.
Yeah.
Because again, you have an hour and you make 32 phone calls. You got as big a gap not calling as you do calling. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so your efficiency is terrible. So I wanted to be, if I was going to do what I hated doing, which was dialing, I may as well be efficient as shit as knock it out. Again, my goal was, Mike, again, he always wanted to go to lunch. I wanted to get time with him. A lot of people would go to lunch either way. So Steph would pack me a lunch every Monday. And in the field. She actually packs, she does. It's obnoxious. She picks my clothes. She does all the shit. But she would pack lunch, and then Killian would come in and be like, you coming today? I'm like, nah. I'd say no a lot because I'm like, I gotta fill in. Having lunch wasn't worth missing, get paid. So just shoot this. It's not like it was a massive presentation. You know what I mean? Over time, I learned a lot. But one individual lunch, everybody's dicking around. You go to TGI Fridays. You know what I mean? Like, have a drink at lunch. I was like, I can't anymore. But I did want to go. So I started dialing at 7, 11, 4 hours, me on the phone. There's 250 dials. I can book some fucking appointments. So if I can book up by then, and I'm comfortable in the next 2 days, I'm like, cool, I got to go to lunch. And then we had training from 1 to 3, and then I'd go home. And then it was like, all right, if I didn't do my job then I was forced to dial at night.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather start early, and maybe worst case scenario, I would go home and I'd get on the phone for like 15, 20 minutes and just catch the people I missed and book up some after evening, quick, you know what I mean? Fill in 2 or 3 here every once in a while. I'd be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted nothing to do with the clock ticking and me being like, now I'm down to the window because I can only dial so late. You know what I'm saying? And if this is my work day, again, make it work for you if you're doing one call close, whatever it is. It's like, I didn't want the clock ticking. If I need to do 5 presentations a day and you don't start till noon, buckle the fuck up. Might not be a good day. Unless you're so good and so efficient, you have it down, you know you can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, this, again, people are usually wowed 11 days a month for all I sold insurance. 460K, 11 days. That was it. You know, where most people, I've had plenty of people do the work, but they spread it out over 20 days, 25 days. And I'm like, not me. So I wanted to be here. Because again, if I mess this up, I can't get back on the phone till here. So I got to go book 3 appointments here and 4 here. I'm making no money. I have a lot of time to think. Now I'm 2 days in the field, nonstop stressed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th day before I can get back on the phone.
So you have 1 dial a day.
Huh? I would do, so here, AMs, I would dial here in the AM because I got the kids after school for dinner. So I book but this week I didn't dial at all because I had the kids.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to dial Thursday here. So this Thursday and this Thursday, I would dial. Oops. So here I'd book those 2 days and here I'd book that Friday. Does that make sense? But again, I'm booking 1 day here, so I'm done in fucking an hour. You know what I mean? Like this was easy. This was 1 day.
Yeah.
And then, but this was a big day because I had to book up 2 full days. You know what I'm saying? I just did it before, and I picked up my kids from school at 3. So I had till 3 to do whatever I wanted. You know what I mean? I'd dick around, do admin work, do recruiting stuff, do whatever I do, go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like that would be my time. I could choose what I did with that time. You know? So again, knock out dials, be done by 11, pick up the kids at 3, I can do whatever. You know? So, day and a half of dials. You know? I don't like the phones. But they're a necessary evil, and I'm willing to do it. You know, I just wanted to do it my way. I wanted to be stupid efficient. You know, I like efficiencies. I don't like, and everything I do with them, and 3 of the staff were pretty fucking new. And like they're learning me, and I'm like, I like numbers, I like data, I like to look at stuff, I like to see where we're efficient. I'm like, yo, what percent of it do we do this? How do we do this? And sometimes I think they want to kill me, and Amanda's like, can we just, you'll learn. You know what I mean? I just want to understand. And to me, data and info tells you a story. It says who you are. You know what I'm saying? I can look at it and go, all right, how do we adjust? What's making money? What's not? Let's move things. And I don't know, it helps me orchestrate stuff. So this just became like my life. You know, and I still run it very soon. I just do it on my phone now. I can tell you everything. You could literally look at my entire life is on my calendar. Amanda and I, it's shared, and everything's there. You know, so let's.
Back when you first started, were you doing primarily all final expense?
When I was new, brand new, I did probably 75% final expense, maybe 25% mortgage. Again, it was 2012. Sort of a lot door knocking. I was selling after work. I was dialing on Sundays and booking appointments for Monday and Tuesday. And then I would dial at work on Thursday and Friday and run Saturdays. I ran Monday, Tuesday night after work, and I ran Saturdays. And I made phone calls on Sundays from like 2 to 6. I would call after church and before dinner kind of window. Worked for me. So I'd make phone calls 2 to 6 on Sundays and book Monday, Tuesday night.
So your average policies on that was basically like 200 a month?
No.
No, what were they?
No. Our average,
Back in 2012,
yeah, I mean, it's not crazy different today. Average policy is $1,200 annual.
annually.
All in with everything. When I was new, if I broke it down, my early days, my average app back then, probably fucking $400. I was writing a lot of $5,000 a month, $40 a month apps because I thought everyone was broke and didn't have any money, and I was afraid to show big pricing, and I was a wuss. I didn't uncover policies. I didn't do a good financial inventory. I sucked.
I'm just saying, so really, if you're looking at what built you with those low annual premiums to what we could actually do now
Correct.
is,
It's obnoxious.
yes,
That's hence the frustration
yes.
you hear in my delivering messages.
Do you know what your guys' average IUL target premium is?
I don't offhand. It's definitely higher than $1,200. I could figure it out, but I don't.
Do you think it's hard to read, take a while to
Yeah, it's around that probably. Yeah, it's around. I was gonna say with off the hip 2,500. I was gonna just shoot off the hip to say that. I could get it exact, but it's in that ballpark.
People let me know that.
Yeah, and it's also different if you break down the guys who know what they're doing, and if I put everyone in a bucket, they're very different numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like some people just write them to write. Some people actually know what the fuck they're doing. Their average is fucking like 10 G's. I know some guys that write, damn it.
A target premium is always,
Yeah, I know. I know some people that write really, really wealthy people. So yeah, I mean, it's possible. So it depends what segment you break down. If I go everyone in a bucket,
2,500.
yeah, probably in that range.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. Other thing we'll talk about, lead plan. Obviously, you should get one. If you're looking for, do you want me to share that stuff, Amanda? Leads?
Yeah.
Yes? IUL leads? Yes? Certainly, if you're with us, ILC is an option. They have them in inventory. You can get real time and you can get inventory stuff. If you want something ongoing, who do you want? It's up there? They made a QR code. You have both? Life Jacket too? Can they just connect with?
Yeah.
Who wants to do it? Angela? So, both? The QR code for one? What do they sign up?
Code is IUL. That's just a sign up form.
It's a sign up.
Yeah.
$25 a lead? Is that what it is? $25 a lead, IUL stuff. They're generated on Facebook. It's literally what our team writes probably 2.5 million a month in IULs using these leads. They're not magic. They're just leads. They're IUL leads. They're targeted. Again, they're leads. Again, ILC, these, whatever. The difference is ILC, you're chasing 18 million other people. If you sign these up, you can sign up to a recurring thing. What's the minimum? 500 a week? 500 a week. So they get some, is that 20 leads? Oh, what is it, combo? Because it goes like 75% of the money goes towards new leads. There's second chance leads too. So it's kind of a combination of new and, what are they, 30 days old or 20 days old or something like that? The second chance, 20 days? 25 days? Cool. So combination. And those are only $5,
Yes.
right? So put 1,000, it gets some for 25 new, $5 second chance, aged, whatever you want to call them. So if you're interested in that, QR code or talk to Angela. And then one of the guys in our group, Ben, runs a lead agency. They do like veteran focused leads. And how do I describe what legacy is?
Final expense.
Straight up final expense?
No.
It's just straight term.
Term.
It's a term targeted,
Yeah.
but not vet specific.
Yeah.
The vet specific can be, it's literally vet focused. Could be final expense, could be term, all ages, but it's a veteran, like former military focused ad. These agents kill it. How many agents are, 75 agents we have getting those right now, something crazy. How much are those? 30, 35? 35? So if you're interested in a final expense and or vet focused, a term or a vet focused lead, just get with Angela.
The term one is like targeted towards, like, there's an individual that I ran some of his leads and they're term for parents, specifically focused on living benefits.
If you haven't got to know me yet in 5 hours, we're way too simple for that.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't do that shit. It's just, who wants term insurance, dude? We're really simple. So
That's it.
that's it. There's no more.
You don't generate those yourself, there's someone else.
I'm not doing that. People on our team do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't personally know how to do shit, but get up here and talk, which is why I keep checking with them. And they're giving me hand signals and gang signs and shit in the back, trying to tell me what to say. Does that make sense? I don't make anything.
No, that makes sense.
I do what I do well. Keep shit simple and do a lot of it. But again, it's not that deep in targeting because again, we're trying to pitch simplicity. You know what I mean? It's humans need life insurance. Now, is a vet targeting a little more this much? But we're not getting into like,
Just to try and get a little bit of a higher.
yeah, dude, I'm just like, because you can relate to that. You know what I mean? It's an easy entry point. It's an easy way to build rapport. You know what I mean? You know their background going in. It's a very easy demographic to target. But we're not going like men between 36 and 38 whose favorite color is blue and work on cars on Sundays. And we don't get that deep, dude. We're just super high
In
level.
order to train, you just say, we got all these leads, you know, pick a combination of all three, and you're selling insurance and, you know. this is
Close.
demographic, you know.
Again, I think of that thing as simple. So that's it. IUL vet term. If you want to get with them, again, if you're with us, there's obviously a CRM with all different types. These are just ones I know our agents are on, so we can vouch for them because they print fucking money, or we wouldn't let them get them. I'm not saying the others can't, because I'm a big fan of lead diversity. I think multiple lead types, multiple lead vendors is the best route, because if you stick with one and you're like, this is the best one and it's my favorite one, buckle the fuck up. One day you're gonna wake up and get smacked in the head because it'll be gone. Or won't work. Shit changes. You know, so I like a bit of diversity, but these few work well. They've been running for a while, and we sell a ton of premium on them. If anybody is at a point, you want me to tell them CRM automation stuff? So like, if you want stuff like, if you're kind of an automation nerd or CRM guy, or want to do like you at a point where you're making money and you're efficient and you can do some stuff, Andres on the right, our right, can help with that. We do all kinds of shit, go high level. He built out a whole AI bot that books appointment. Like, he's a fucking machine. So we book an ass ton of appointments automated. Like, we do open up. But I'm like, if you're getting started, you're trying to get out of a hole, don't worry about AI bots. Does it make sense? But if you're like at a point where you got some money and you can do some things, we can help point you in the right direction, get a CRM. You can pay for different things, you can get things programmed. Like, we got some options if you're interested in that. Certainly you can. And what else am I supposed to tell them? Another event. We have our online one. Again, I do a Zoom once a month. When's that?
The online one is on the 15th.
What month are we in? May 15th?
Yes, 2 weeks from yesterday.
It's on the thing up there too. All this shit's
The
up.
registration link is in
Yeah.
the QR.
And you can get everything just by going to my site, johnwetmore.com, register. We'll spam you until you unsubscribe. And usually with value, I mean, that's the goal. And if you hate it, all good. But you can register there. There's links up there. I don't know when we're doing the next.
June 6th.
June 6th is the next one. My vote is, unless you're doing something different June 6th, please don't show up. Like, if you haven't improved and can't tell a dope story, stay home. Because I just don't want to repeat the same shit to the same people. They asked me over there, do you get bored talking? Because it's funny, they've only been with me a little while. I think, 6 months? Maybe like 3 months, 3 or 4, and like a month. So yeah, I got you. I said 3 or 4. I'm in the ballpark, and I think 6-ish, maybe 8. And who asked me? Was it you, Reese?
Reese, yeah.
We walked back there, and he goes, "You ever get bored saying the same shit over and over again?" He's been with him a month, and he's realized I say the same shit nonstop. Because I'm like, it's really simple. I said, I only get bored when it's the same people. That's why I haven't had people in my office in a year and a half. Because it became the same people every week. And I'm like, you don't fucking listen. The coachable thing, I'm out. So I quit on it.
How many agents do you have in your offices?
0. I never have anyone here. No, I don't like people here. I like them to come in and
He
leave.
doesn't like people.
Yes. Yeah. We used to have people in here. But what happened is, like, them over here, we're training and they're over there shooting the shit. That drives me mental every day. I don't care if they're doing it. But every day, I would be like, stop coming.
Yeah, when I was at
It's to go home.
the Brandon office, there was a group of people in there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"You dick."
Now, they're all killing it.
Guys, like, shut the fuck up and work.
Be-
And,
Gang signs. Thank you. So yeah, it became frustrating and boring for me. So I literally made everyone leave because it was the same people every week and nobody was growing. So I'm like, all right, I don't have any new messages. I apologize. I haven't helped you get where you want to go. I have nothing new to say. And we are growing so much outside of our office, which proved it worked. So I'm like, they're just not being coachable. I quit.
what percentage of your agents?
You want to know a lot of percentages and averages.
I mean, is pretty much everybody in your agency right now virtual?
I don't know. I can make up an answer. I'd say probably 75%. Versus in-home, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to guess. But I don't work tracking anymore. I don't care. I just care that people are making money. I know how many are making money. You know what I mean?
6,000
we had-
units, how many are really making money?
We had, so 6,000 wrote a policy. They wrote at least one policy.
Okay.
The lowest one on the list, I don't know how, it said like 15 cents.
Wow.
I don't know how.
Maybe with the charge.
Okay, keep the sign up so I don't forget. No, okay. I don't know the answer. I'm not that deep. But for instance, we have about 1,800 people that write a month consistently.
Okay.
Okay, we had over 500 make over 100 grand last year. I think the number was, like 350 were over 250. There was like 200 over $500,000. We had 6 or 8 over $1 million, just personal production. That's not including team stuff. Yeah, we have some people printing fucking money. You know, but I looked last month, we had 1,200 people do under 5 grand. But I'm 100% sure they don't work.
Let's see, they're not following that system.
Correct. Because they don't listen. So and I can't touch everybody anymore. You know what I mean? The agency's so big, like, he was like, yeah, I mean, you're down with that. I'm like, sweet, good to meet you. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea who most of the people are anymore. You know what I mean? So I just do this. Early when I had 50, 100 agents, dude, I knew everybody's name, address, social security, kid's name. I knew everything about all of them. You know what I mean? Because I was so tied to everybody. Now it's become like I work with select people.
And you train everybody that you bring into the agency with the same exact system every single time?
Yes. If you speak to me again in a month, I promise you, if you come next month and you will be,
I'm not gonna be here.
it will be a challenge and I'll say most of the same shit. It will change if we're growing. Because as you grow, things change.
Yeah.
But in the spot you're in, nothing new is going to happen relative to where you're at today. Does that make sense? The answer is going to be the same. Now, if we go, hey, I came back, I got 20 agents, what do I do? Hey, I made 50 G's, what do I do? Different conversations. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as you grow, this thing evolves. Base level, getting started where we're at, message is same. So my goal is challenge people to do it or scare them so bad they won't come back.
We don't wanna waste your time on people that
I don't.
don't wanna invest in themselves.
Nope. You know what I mean? So if you come back, please have new questions. Please have growth. Please have new problems. Please have new things we can work on. You know what I mean? Like, we can't come back and be like, contracting. You can't do it. You know what I mean? No more percentages next month, bro. I love you. I ain't mad at it, but I can't. Does it make sense? You can't be in a hole next month. You know what I'm saying? You can't be stuck on your own shit next month and not doing what you know you need to do. Y'all should be dialing making some money. You know what I mean? Then we got different conversations. What do we do with it? How we reinvest? You know what I mean? Like you can evolve and learn. And you know. You know Yeah, you, don't turn around. Shit. You know what I'm saying? How you doing that QR code thing too?
Which one?
The one he just,
Yes,
cool.
it's out there.
It is out there too?
Yep.
So,
Didn't you just send QR code?
Yeah.
yeah, all of it.
Or you can send me, respond back to the email that I emailed you on earlier. And I'll just, you can send it that way too.
So one of the things that I'm doing out of like a non-stop request, I think I mentioned it briefly earlier, we are working on building like a coaching thing. Gauging interest more than anything. I don't have anything in place. We're gonna have a complete fucking waiting list for it, and we're gonna like be picky as shit because I don't want to do it mostly unless it's like really people who like want to engage, because I don't want to quit it. You know what I mean? But I get asked quite a few times a week, so we're building some stuff out. So there's a little form that is really meant to gauge interest. If it's something you're interested in, if you want to be part of it, great. I don't even have we literally don't have anything built at all. So it's something we're thinking about. We're definitely putting it together. We're thinking about how to structure it. It's going to be based on interest, how many people, where you're at level-wise. So there's definitely going to be different levels. More pay, more access. Low pay, less access. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I just want to help a bunch of people make a lot of money, you know? So I'm trying to figure out the right way to structure it, and the lower cost, the more group stuff it's going to be, which is cool because I like group stuff. I'm actually more worried about the higher cost stuff because those people are a pain in the ass like me. So I'm like, I don't know that I'm even going to do that one. But there's the thing back there. If you have interest and be something you'd be interested in, just again, fill it out. There's nothing else to it. There's nobody collecting any money here at all for anything today. But they are trying to figure out, like, is this something we want to launch, and how do we want to do it, the angle we want to take, so that's back there as well. And I think I messed everything up. Did I mess anything else up? No? I got 2 thumbs up. You good? Angelo's got a half one? You went sideways. Y'all have any questions? We got 12 minutes because I don't want to go over. Anything I can help with, anything I missed, anything you want to know at all.
Well, quite good.
Huh?
Quite good. I guess I'll ask.
Thank God. What?
How do you get over, I think the only thing that I'm really stuck on is I have to want it to be perfect with knowing my products. So I find myself watching training videos in the shower when I'm sleeping, probably subconsciously, like I literally want to make sure I
love
have
it.
the best product for my customer. And I'm stuck there because
So, what product have you written your customer so far?
only NLP,
Nothing else.
nothing
So
else.
all the other clients you could potentially write don't have anything
Correct,
because you're overthinking.
correct.
So hold on, dude, I got it. So hold on. So there's people who need insurance, right?
Right,
That you've not written solely because you're overthinking. Right? Meaning if you're sitting with Mary who wants 10 grand to take care of her kids and grandkids when she dies, is it really that deep?
no, no, because then
Go
I'm
right.
putting with somebody else. Right.
Go rank it. Like, don't overthink it. And understand, even if you studied it all now with no real world application, you're not really learning a ton.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And when you're with clients, worst case scenario, worst case, like really worst case, you have to get back to them. Because the carriers are closed because it's 9 p.m. and there's nobody open. And somehow you don't have someone to call, which is not possible in my group unless you choose not to get to know people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're in the Slack group, there's fucking 7,000 people in our Slack group. Or what, I don't know, the number might be higher today. You know what I'm saying? That was in the same email, by the way. Slack group.
Slack, I
Correct.
actually.
There's always someone to go, yo, I need help.
registered that.
Hey, I'm sitting with a client, they have such and such, can you help me? Especially when you're new. But you gotta be willing to go out of your way and ask the questions
I
and
think
involve
because
yourself.
I didn't have that with the first
Yeah.
company, that support.
You had it
I am
here.
so absorbed with.
Now again, try not to
I
do
love
that too
shit
long.
myself.
You're here 3 months, 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah,
You're
no,
gonna be
I'm
like,
only 2 months in
again?
total.
She's asking again? It will get exhausting, they'll ignore you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But up front, hey, I'm brand new, sitting in the house, anyone can help me? I got this situation. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Hey, Wetmore told me to post in here, I'm brand new, can someone help? Someone's gonna fucking answer. Again, it may not take 30 seconds, You know what I mean? But as you start to get to know people, grab a few numbers of the top people. Watch the trainings on our teams, and most of them tell you to reach out to them. You know what I mean? Like, connect with some people at the meetings. Exchange numbers. Don't do it with people who suck, please. But the ones that are good and willing to help, get some numbers. You know what I mean? When they do something good for you, call them back, thank them. Be like, yo, appreciate what you just did. It helped me write, fucking make $1,200. Thumbs up, dude. Post in the group. Hey, Bob helped me. Appreciate your help. You know what I mean? Like, give them some credit where it's due. People like that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
At the Slack group, we'll find a lot of support.
yeah, I mean, you'll find access to people.
Okay.
Right? At the end of the day, you should study your product. You know what I'm saying? So now as you're starting to see clients, when you get health information, or maybe you miss a sale, hey, maybe go after the fact and go like, all right, they had A, B, and C medications. I wrote them this. Go study the other companies and see what they would have done with those medications. That exact scenario.
That's kind of what
That's how I learned
We're
underwriting.
doing a lot.
I'm like, that thing that everyone uses today, I'm like, I didn't need or use that. Why? I took every underwriting, not saying you shouldn't, I took every underwriting guide, and over time, I actually did it one weekend. It was about a year and a half in. I started at A, and I went, all right, A, and I read all the questions on every application. They're all about the same. Every application app, but they're slight variations. This one will be like, in the last 2 years, have you ever blah, 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 blah. This one will say, in the last 3 years, have you ever blah, blah, blah. This one will, you know what I mean? It'll be slight variations in wording. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That will change underwriting completely. This one will say, have you ever had blah, 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 blah. Or this one's only in the last X, have you da, 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 da. This one will say, you know, have you had any complications from diabetes? This one will just say, have you ever had diabetes? Does that make sense? This one asks about cancer. This one says, have you had cancer and or has it spread? Oh, this one doesn't ask that. Does that make sense? And I literally, line by line, I still have the spreadsheet today, went through and I put every possible question on, and I put every possible carrier over here, and I went through each one. This one says yes, this one says no, this one, that's how I learned it.
I'm starting to build
And then-
that now, but I'm almost
And then I
like
stuck,
it's
now,
out there.
some nerd built an app that does that for you. Am I mad at it? No.
No, where is that?
What's that thing called? Insurance toolkits. Someone did that and made it electronic.
Your underwriting
Yeah.
will be like
Love that.
95% if you use
But-
the app.
What's it called?
Insurance toolkits.
I think I have that. I can download that.
But again, for me,
Okay.
I wanted to know it.
Well, especially if you're
I mean, with
sitting out
time.
with somebody.
One, it didn't exist. But I like, with time, again, it's the equivalent of my kids play baseball, right? We played this team last week, okay? They're 12 years old. They can understand signs. Coaches do fucking all this shit on the thing, and they're doing all this shit, and it means something to the kids. This other team we played had wristbands. And he would go, 413, and every one of them would look at it and go to every play. They all had to look at their wristband. That's insurance toolkits to me. My team, kids do that, kids know what to do. That's learning your shit.
I really don't.
Me too. Does that make sense? I ain't mad at it temporarily. I think your first week, insurance toolkits, home run. I think if you're here in 9 months and you still need that to underwrite, I think you suck.
Okay.
Personal opinion. At underwriting. Or you wouldn't be, because it's not that deep. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to learn it so I knew with time, but I didn't need to know it right away. So right away, I just needed access to information. So insurance toolkits are good to get access to the information right away without really knowing it. Having connections just in case some weird ass fucking scenarios come up. You know what I mean? Someone gets a client, like you just connect with people. You know what I mean?
Last night, because I saw something that I just didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a good
It's
resource.
very, very good too, because if someone wants term, but they're on medication that could be on that fine line, that could kind of
Yeah.
ensure the product
So-
placement is correct, you know, that place.
Give yourself grace in learning the business. You know what I mean? And I'd rather you write them something. Because again, at the core of this thing, what's insurance? You remember?
You Chuck.
Yeah.
That's all they need to know. If you get them covered and they got a policy, they die, they get a check. Is it the best? It's all relative. It's in the eye of the beholder. Like who says it's the best?
I'm all about those living benefits.
You know what I mean?
So I can do it for you while you're alive.
Like living benefits are great until they die and they don't have the benefit. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Yeah.
all there's no perfect. It's just it's not. You know. And then again, if you do the business right, you do annual reviews and you go back and you check on your clients after a year. Maybe next year you've learned some stuff. You identify something you wouldn't have seen the previous year, but at least they were covered. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather you cover people now and don't be so analytical.
something.
Yeah, get them
Just have
something.
something.
Because if they die, they get a check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And with time, as your expertise in the business gets better,
Fund me for your.
correct, you can improve on your skill set there,
Okay.
you know? Anything else?
Anything you would do differently, John? Like from when you look back at your history, man, I know
You know,
there's a lot.
I struggle with that question a lot because all the stuff I've messed up has taught me everything I know.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, I would have been more coachable sooner because I was a pain in the ass. And I would have been better with people sooner. I was really bad
Yeah.
with people, clients and agents and staff, to be honest. I was fucking trash, dude. So I regret, it taught me a lot. And I'm thankful for the lessons. But I'd have been way better with people. I'd have been more intentional. You know, and then I would probably say on the recruiting side, I would have put my phone down a little bit more in certain times.
What do you mean by that? You put your phone down.
Like if I was playing kickball with my kids in the backyard and some dipshit called me because he didn't study his underwriting and he's been here 2 years, I'd pick up. You know what I mean? And he'd waste 45 minutes of my time asking a question I already fucking answered. I would have not answered a lot more of those calls. Make sense?
Makes sense, yeah. Already know more.
Because now I can look back at all those agents that took advantage of my time and what most of them do today and they don't appreciate none of it and they quit. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck. But it taught me what I know. So I have a hard time, but that's a big one that sticks for me.
True.
I would have still taken a lot of calls, but like certain ones,
Yeah.
they were like, he can wait 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Because I knew why they were calling. Because I'd set it up in a way where it wasn't so intentional and I was the answer guy. You know what I mean? And I didn't help people like truly learn the business, which makes people uncomfortable. You know what I mean? After a little while, you call me with some underwriting stuff. I'm like, you've been here and I've already kind of told you how to get it and learned it and you ain't been here a week or two, like you've been 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have your underwriting guide with you? Well, no. All right. Have a good day.
Well, you can call the carrier too directly.
Correct.
Well, you can-
Or I'd be like, pull it up. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got it. All right, pull it up. Be like, open it up.
Questions. Hey, they've got
To-
this,
to
they've
the
got this.
You
underwriter.
know what I'm saying? I would, some equivalent of it today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I wish I held people more accountable to learning their profession more
Yeah.
versus
Yeah, wait and see.
kind of letting them off the hook. Again, there's a balance. Week 1, week 2, I'm in.
Yeah.
But after a little while, I'm like, man, because I'd hang up frustrated. I'd be mad, mean to them. You know what I mean? I'm like, I learned to do a lot better. I wish I did it sooner. You know, and definitely the phone. A lot more people would have got the fucking red button. For sure. Because I learned with time when I started doing it, I'd call people back and I'd be sitting there doing nothing. They call and be like, eh. I call them back in 2 hours. I'm like, yo, what's up? 75% of the time, you know what they said?
Figured it out.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
It's like, fuck. Yeah. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Now, one more.
What was your script that you would use? I know you said you don't really use a script,
Oh,
but
well,
like, how did you book those 11 appointments? Like, what were you saying to them to get this in person?
What I did earlier.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Jeff. Like, yeah. Like, hey, man, this is John getting back to you about the form you filled out regarding the mortgage at 123 Main Street. How are you?
Yeah.
They'd be like, doing good. Or they'd be like, who? One or the other. 75% of the time, they'd be like, I'm doing good. I liked asking.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Hey, real quick, my job's real simple. I just need to verify a couple things you put on this form so we can get you all the information. Shows your date of birth is 3/28/77. Is that right? Yep. Says you're a smoker. Yep. Hey, real quick, last one. Do you work, retired, or disabled? Right. So I'm thinking schedule in my head.
Yeah.
Retired. Cool. All right. My job real simple. They send me out to make sure you are who you say you are. Check a couple medical questions. That way I can get you all the information. See if you're even eligible for anything. It literally takes 10 minutes. Do you prefer 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. tomorrow? That's it. Just fucking like that, nonstop.
So you're assuming that what you are.
100%. Why would I not? They filled out a form.
True.
Especially when they like fill it out with hand,
You know what I mean?
with their pen and sign.
100% assume it. You know. I also know that they're not gonna like people. What I learned is people who fill shit out. So the chance of them being like, oh yes, the one I filled out Tuesday, November 3rd with the blue pen. That's you calling me. I don't have a fucking clue. You know what I mean? You know how many people I've called that I've assumed and they have like a copy of the lead out and it's not the one I'm calling on? I've booked appointments with that multiple times in the past where I show up to the house and I get in. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, I'm here for our 3 o'clock. Just assume, and I assume I just start walking in and they let me in the house and we sit down. I'm at the wrong fucking house. Go to the neighbor by mistake. I swear to God, I've happened a bunch. I sold insurance to one day. I was like, he's at the end. He's like, so you mentioned something I filled out, bro. I didn't fill anything. I found out at the end of the appointment I was in the wrong house.
Like you said, his name.
Yeah, you fucking like we found out like through it. You know, like at the end of like not final app. I mean, I didn't fill out the app, but like he was buying by the time I figured it out. You know, like Steve, right? He's like, no, I'm Joe. I thought it was weird. I didn't remember having an appointment. It was really fucking weird, dude. I sold another one where I went to the house, missed the sale, right? I remember I missed the sale. I was pissed. It was like a buying time concept. He had a big mortgage, old dude, veteran. I go in, I miss the sale, but I sell the concept of covering for 6 months payments. And I go in, I miss it. A couple weeks later, I show up. I don't know pulling in. I pull into the house, and you do this enough. Like I still can drive around, and I'm like, oh, I remember being in that neighborhood. I was over there. I flashbacks of where I was. So I pull up, and I'm like, this house looks familiar as shit. What the hell? I'm walking up. I ring the fucking bell. The dude opens the door, and I'm like, this motherfucker. I called the lead again by mistake. I didn't know. He didn't fill out the lead. I just put it in the wrong pile and called it again, booked an appointment. So I walk in, like, no big deal. He didn't recognize me. I was at his house 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, all right, I know everything about him in the back of my head. I'm like, is he really not fucking recognize? I'm thinking the whole time, there's no way he forgets me. I sit down, I start going through the thing. I'm like, all right, man. Well, obviously you did this to take care of the mortgage. Can you tell me a little bit more about the situation, what's going on? And he gives me a different reason this time, and he presents to me the reason that I tried to cover him. He's like, I just want to make sure that, you know, when I die, I got like 6 months of payments for my mortgage. And I'm like, motherfucker, you're using my script. Because that's not what he wanted when I sat with him. He was like, I want the whole thing or nothing. Dude. So then he pitches me what he wants, which is my thing. I write him like a $300 a month. It's that email I get every month from Royal. I write him a $300 a month Royal Neighbors. And it's, he wanted to do this like, it's where they take the money directly out of his military bill, that billing thing. I get the email it's still in the books to this day. Every month I get the email saying, the payment has been made for such and such. And it was like 8 years, 9 years, I don't know how long ago it was. But I literally sat with the same dude, so 2 weeks after, and he did not remember it was me. You know what I mean? And sometimes we get in our head that we're overthinking, like they told us no. I'm like, I sat and presented to this fucker 2 weeks prior, and he forgot. You know? And it's like, so I think like overthinking this thing can be a lot. And I left the house and I'm like, all right, man, good to meet you. He's like, great to meet you too. You were better than the last asshole. So, anyway, hope y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good meeting you guys. For those that I haven't.